Hi, this is Frank Stallone. I want you to subscribe to my good pal Eddie Mata. All his platforms everywhere. Do it. Cheers.
And here we have it, the man of the hour. This artist has been in showbiz the past 4 decades. He is a 5'2" player. He could sing, act, perform, write, and most of all, he can kick your ass in a fight.
Oh, God.
Please welcome Frank Slash. He can do it all. Stallone. Welcome to the show, brother. How are you?
Thank you, Eddie. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, it's an honor to have you, man. Thank God for Catherine Narducci.
Yeah, she's great. She's a really good friend of mine. And I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy we were able to hook up. It's good.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Ah.
So let's turn back the clock a little bit. Did you always want to perform?
Yeah, well, I always wanted to play music and sing and perform. Yeah, since I was a little kid. That was always my intention to do. I didn't really have I didn't have many, as you say, interruptions to do other things. That's what I really wanted to do.
So what inspired you? Did you watch Elvis or somebody?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. 1956, I was over my Aunt Nancy's house on Missouri Avenue in D.C., where I'm from. And that was the night he was premiering Elvis Presley. So the whole family was there. And I was there with my cousins who were my age, like 6, 7, 8, around that era. And this guy came on screen. I said, "This is absolutely the coolest thing I've ever witnessed in my life." And I said, "That's it." Because I had already been singing. As a little kid, I sang. So, but when I saw that, I said, "This is it, man. This is what I want to do." And realistically, it was the beginning of rock and roll. That was it. That was the start of it. That right after that, the Everly Brothers, Jerry Lee Lewis, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Bill Haley, and the Comets. That whole thing exploded, and I was lucky enough to witness it. On TV. That was it.
But you were playing like Italian music, right?
Well, not really.
When
I
you
mean,
were
I just
younger.
sang. Yeah, I mean, it was around. I didn't. Everyone in my family spoke Italian. My father's from Italy and stuff, but they didn't want us to speak Italian because they knew how in those days you had to speak English to get a job and that, all that stuff like that. So they didn't really want us to speak Italian per se. But that's kind of what happened. And then that was it. And then when the Beatles came out, it was all over. That was it. The die had been cast.
So you love singing. That was your passion, right? That was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think it's something you're born with. I don't think it's something that you acquire. You either can sing or you can't sing. I mean, there are people. Yes, they study voice, but they're singing opera. That's different because you're learning a language. You're performing a play or an operetta, but you still have to be able to have the natural voice to sing. Yeah, can you always improve? I think you just improve the more you do it. But yeah.
And first I want to say, I send my condolences to your mom. She passed away last year. She's
Yeah.
right there. There's a picture of her, but she was very
Yeah.
encouraging, right? Like she would root you on, cheer
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. My mom was pretty cool with that stuff. Yeah.
So when you
Yeah.
started singing to her and you said, "Mom, when I grow up, I want to become a singer," what did she tell you?
I don't think I ever said anything like that. I think I just did it. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just kind of did my thing, you know.
Did you play sports when you were a kid?
A little bit, like most kids, you play sandlot sports, football and baseball, but it was what I wasn't gifted at it. So I figured why don't I just stay with my strong suit. And then I boxed, but that was a little later, and that was fun because it was a discipline. It was a good discipline to learn to do that, and kind of stay with me. I mean, I'm still up at 5:30 in the morning, go to the gym, take care of business. And because, for what I do, and I'm not getting younger, I have to be in shape. I can't go on stage and phone it in. I have to be in shape. I mean, it's just a prerequisite. That's just the way it goes.
When you
And
go ahead.
go ahead. No.
No, but I agree. I mean, I'm a CrossFitter, so I've been doing it the past 12 years. No
Yeah,
injuries. So I believe in staying in shape, and I
you have to.
see your workouts, and I'm like, damn, man, this guy, he's kind of ripped. You know what I mean? He's still
Well, that's
delivering right
why.
there. Look at that. Look at that Philly shirt right there.
I know. I try. It's but it's something you have. I guess it's a lifestyle. I see friends of mine. I went back to a high school reunion. I mean, it was literally scary. They look like they could be my father because
Yeah.
all of a sudden it catches up with you later in life, not when you're young. People that were just so concerned about making money, doing this, they never really physically took care of themselves. And so when you get older, things break down anywhere, like a car, and then the next thing you know, you're out of commission.
Yeah, I hear you. So what about the fight for it was over ice cream, you and your brother when you were kids? Like, was this a battle or what?
Well, it wasn't over ice cream. What it was about, he was eating ice cream.
Hmm.
He had like a half gallon or something. He was scooping ice cream, and he was wearing my denim jacket, which was my denim jacket. But all of a sudden, he commandeered it. It's my jacket. I said, no, it's my jacket. And he did something. He either hit me with the spoon, and I kicked him. I was wearing clogs then. This is 1970. And I kicked him in the groin. And then he hit me on top of the head as hard as he could and like broke his hand. Didn't hurt my head, but he broke his hand. Yeah. And then my father got in between. I was a mess.
Now, was this your stepfather or father?
That was my father. That was
Okay,
my father, Frank Sr. Yeah.
so in high school, you saved money to buy a guitar, and
That's right.
which father was angry at you?
That was my stepfather, not my father. My father couldn't care less about that type of stuff. No, I had my mother married this guy, who's a Sicilian guy, and he just didn't get me at all. He didn't get what I was about at all, like as far as my music and what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
And he's a typical World War II guy, that one of those type, tough. And so we butted heads a lot. It wasn't a fun time at all. So that's kind of and no, I mean a lot of kids I played in bands with, most of them went on to college, and I didn't. I had no intentions of going to college. I wanted to be a rock star. That's what I wanted to do. And so that's why one of the groups broke up because they all went to college or they got drafted or something like that. So,
Was that the
but I kept.
Valentine band?
Well, no, that was the band before it was American Tragedy in high school.
Oh,
That
okay.
band was the last version. There were three Valentine bands. That was the last one. That was the RCA record version.
Mm,
That was around the Rocky time. Yeah.
okay. But here's the thing. Now, in high school, you flunked music too. I thought music was your passion.
Yeah. Well, I did, but the problem was in high school is that they were hitting us with heavy classics right away, like Wagner and Vivaldi and Prokofiev and stuff like that. It was just too heavy for our brains. I mean,
Right.
if they was started like with Cole Porter, Count Basie, Paul Lennon, and McCartney, and ease into the other thing, it might have worked. But the other thing was just too heavy. And when you're young like that, and you're surrounded by this British invasion, the Stones, the Kinks, and stuff. The last thing you want to do is listen to Tchaikovsky's Peter and the Wolf. I mean, it's not that it's not a great piece, but I mean, that's not what you want to. That's not where your attention is at that point. But I grew into it to appreciate and enjoy that type of music. But when you're a kid, you know how it is.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, kids now have zero attention span. I mean, the only thing we had to really distract us was TV and the radio. That's about it. There was, and
But you would
And
play
press.
every day, right? You would go outside and do
Oh
something.
yeah, absolutely. But in those days, the only thing social media was basically the newspaper and the radio and whatever was on TV. I mean, there was no social media. So, I have young guys ask me, go, well, how did you live, man, without like an iPhone? So I said, what do you mean, how did we live? People lived for 120 years without iPhones. What are you talking about? You call somebody at home. You call
Yeah.
like how you call. In those days, in those days, mostly, a lot of women were stay at home moms. The guys went out and
Mhm.
worked. The women stayed home, took care of the kids, do whatever, housewife. And so there was always someone at home. And they take a message, say, all right, I'll have Joe call you when you get home from work and stuff like that. It was very, very easy. I mean, but the thing was, most people worked. So
Mhm.
you either called them before they went to work or after they got home from work.
Yeah.
That was it. So it wasn't as leisurely as things are now.
Oh no, not
Everyone.
at
I
all.
mean, my father. I never saw my father miss a day of work in his life ever. Never saw him sick really until he died. I never, he was one of those type guys. They got up, they went to work. No matter what the weather was, they went to work, and that was it.
That's old school, man.
That is old school, and
Yeah.
they took responsibility for what was going on, and there you go.
So
That's what they did.
yeah.
That's what people did in those
Did
days.
you, in 1965, you actually became a professional musician because you
They
got
did.
paid $5, right?
That's right. That is right. So and that was $5 between three guys.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
probably $1.70 each, $1.60 each. But you know what? When you're 15 years old, $1.50 was a lot of money. But see, people don't quite understand. I you know, at 1965, a dollar would be like $11.
Mm,
So $100 in 1965 is like $1,100. Okay, so it was a lot. You could buy a lot of stuff. So I mean, I remember my mother would give me $1 to go out for the weekend or day. I mean, $1.
that's a dream come true if you get $1.
$1. I mean, I see some of these kids that get like $100, $200 a week allowance. I remember guys didn't make that in 2 weeks. Teachers didn't make that in 2 weeks. I think a teacher, when I was in high school, made like $126 every 2 weeks.
Oh my
So they made
God.
like $65 a week.
Wow.
But it's all different. Like guitars now. I mean, you see these Les Paul guitars going for 300 grand. We used to pick them up for $200. You know, but who knew they were going to become classics? I guess it's like anything.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
we were kids, you could
Yeah.
buy a '55 Chevy for $100.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know,
So right, you joined the band, right? And then all of a sudden they kick you out of a band. They toss you out. Like you have a great
that
friend.
was later. That was Valentine. That was about '68. I started that with my good friend Alan Rosenblum, who,
Hmm.
by the way, now is a rabbi. Go figure. So anyway,
Oh
I
shit.
was in the group. I started the group with Alan. We were like best friends, and we had the group. But for some reason, there was someone in the group, this other guy, and we just started butting heads. And they kind of felt I was difficult, and they kind of threw me out of my own group. Okay. And if people watch my movies, Stallone Frank, that is, Alan tells the story, goes, that wasn't a smart thing to do. And he regrets it. Because then after that, the group fell apart.
Yeah.
After that, they tried to replace me with the people that I already got to join my new group. They say, we'll get Jody to join. No, I had Jody. Oh, we'll get this guy to join. So all the people that they were conspiring to replace me,
Hmm.
I got in my group, which left them like guts with nothing. So
What about the
there we go.
story? You traveled from Trenton, Jersey to
Yeah.
Portland, Maine for nothing?
Yes. For nothing. It was not. It was around. I guess it was coming around the holidays, and we were broke. We lived in a house on Hermitage Avenue in Trenton. And, like in those days, the band, there was like three of the guys in the band that lived in the house. And there were a few girls that lived in the house, but we had nothing to do with the girls as far as on a physical thing. They were like older sisters. Like they had like real jobs. They get up in the morning, go to office job. And we were like, the boy toy rock, cute little guys, but there was nothing physical going on. They were like mothers to us. And it was actually kind of cool. They're very, very nice. And I'm in touch with a few of them. A few of them have passed on. But so that's 1969, if I'm correct. And all of a sudden, my manager, Robin, who I'm still in contact with, said, we got this gig in Portland, Maine. And they have to understand, we're living in the ghetto kind of in Trenton, New Jersey. It's gray. It's like New York. It's cold. It's like, oh, wow, we're going out of town. This is big for teenagers, for kids, right?
Yeah, you're in the big leagues.
So we get in the Ford Econoline, and we put the amps and everything. Then we put like a mattress over top of that, and so it's supposed to be the manager and the 4 band members going up in this Econoline to Maine. Okay. All of a sudden, we're ready to go. The guitar player doesn't show up. The lead guitar player, because the night before he goes, hey, I want to take my amp home and work on it. He never showed up. Scumbag, right? So we got our friend Steve Berg to sit in. He was actually a good guitar player, but he didn't really know our repertoire. It wasn't like today where you MP3 somebody, Mm-hmm. So we drove all the way up to Maine, and we're like, man, this is cool. Get to the club. There's a band playing on stage. Ray goes, and the guy goes, and our group was named Bananas. I don't know how we figured that name out, but the group was named Bananas. And the guy goes, well, we're Bananas. We're supposed to be playing. The guy's there. What? Yeah, we're booked to play. He goes, Bananas? Never heard of it. And we're there. Are you kidding me? We drove all the way to Maine, and there's no gig. And for I don't know how we did it, but we went up and jammed for a minute, played for a second, and maybe 2 or 3 songs. And then I don't know how we ended up in a hotel room. Maybe the people felt sorry for us at the club because we had no money at all. Mm-hmm. So the next day, we said, well, God, we got to go. We got to get back to Trenton. And the 2 guys, Steve Bird, the guitar player, and the bass player, stayed in Portland. I think they met some girls. I don't know how the hell they got home. So anyway, we drove all the way back from Maine to Trenton. And we had, seriously, probably had maybe $8. But there was something interesting about the drive back. You get to know people, because it was like a very lonely, cold middle of the winter coming around Christmas time, which was kind of depressing anyway because we had nowhere to go. And then after that, the group kind of broke up, and then I was on my own. So I was a solo act for a long time, just like acoustic guitar. So that's what I did. I did the coffee house circuit and played, and then put another group together later.
Tell me that story with Bruce Springsteen, man. You were at this in Manhattan.
Yeah, it was 85th Street. In those days, that's where Kenny's Castaways was. I know it's in the Village now, but it was on 85th Street. And I was going by the name Valentine because I had a belt that had Valentine written on the back when we had the group. And it was the only belt I had, so I figured I'll just change my name to Valentine so the belt doesn't look stupid. People ask me questions, right? Mm-hmm. So I think I played this place once before, Kenny's Castaways. Anyway, so I'm playing that night. I come walking up. And it's like those white type chalkboards, but they're not a chalkboard. Stuff you write with the colored pencil, like the menu. And it said, tonight, Bruce Springsteen, not Stein. I figured, well, maybe it's like a college professor from going to do a lecture or something. I had no idea. So I walked in the club. I had my acoustic guitar. I was playing by myself. And I hear this guy on stage with a hat pulled down over his head. And he's like growly voice. I go, who is this clown, right? Anyway, so I go in the dressing room. And then after a while, I started hearing this music. And I figured, well, he's off stage. They just played, like whatever. Not like today. It's not the music like today, but they played something. I said, wow, it sounds like Van Morrison's new album. It's great. Wow. Anyway, so I go out, stick my head around the corner because I'm ready to go on a little bit. And it's Bruce Springsteen with the E Street Band on stage. I thought it was Van Morrison. And I'm there, holy Christ, I got to go on after this. But I did. I did, and he was a nice guy. I remember I reminded him of it. Oh God, 25 years later,
Wow.
and he remembers playing Kenny's. But this is before his album came out or anything.
Yeah.
He was just like a local yokel from Freehold, New Jersey.
But it's
But
amazing, Frank, because everyone started somewhere from nothing.
mhm,
Everyone's
mhm,
trying to get up there. They're
trying to
paying
get
their
up.
dues. And Frank,
Yeah.
I feel like you're such a talented artist that I feel like you went through a lot of adversity, man. It's just
Yeah.
something's in the way to catch that big break.
Well, a lot of it, Eddie, is luck. A lot of
Hmm.
it's timing. A lot of factors. I was a late bloomer to begin with. Okay, just to be honest with you, and and I was out there plugging my songs. I in those days you could walk into Columbia Records building or BlackRock or RCA, and you talk to a secretary. It was like your mom's age, with the beehive there. Can I help you, hon? I said, yeah. Can I get a meeting to meet the A&R guy? So I playing my songs. Okay, hon. How's next week at 2:00? Oh, great. Okay, sweetheart. We were 20 years old. We're kids.
Just like that? That easy?
Yeah, that easy. Because
Shit.
A&R was a lot different then because they were always looking for talent. So, and it was like, it was a different time than it is now. So that's what I would do. I'd make my rounds at different record labels. Of course, I got rejected by everyone, but you go in there with reel to reel. There were no cassettes then, reel to reel tapes, and we'd play them, and it was quite interesting. We'd play them, and you get rejected, but when you're 20, you're kind of
Right,
bulletproof a
right.
little bit. But it was a good time living in New York City. I mean, I had no money at all,
Well,
none. I
I
mean,
mean, you moved in with your brother, right?
I moved in originally with my brother. Then I got my own little place, but it was like $70 a month, and I was working at Bloomingdale's selling shirts, which I had no idea what I was doing. But I would go to the clubs at night. They'd have open mic week and stuff, and I just go up and do my thing. And when I think back on it, I go, God. When you think, I go, how reckless was this? I mean, I had really nothing to fall back on. I did. I had everything to fall back on. And I gave up everything, and this is what I'm doing. I'm out there performing, and but that's what youth is. That's why fighter pilots are 24 years old, not 44,
Mhm.
because you don't have any sense of mortality then. You know what I mean? There's no sense of mortality, so you just fly by the seat of your pants. And so I was basically at one point homeless. When I mean homeless, not I did play on the street corner. I did. I used to play on, I think it was like 58th and 3rd. And I'm talking, when I tell you cold, I'm talking dead of winter with my guitar, which I still have that old Gibson, on the street corner with my guitar case open. The strings were, I was freezing. It was freezing, Manhattan in the winter. And if I would make $5, I was ecstatic. Because it was quarters, dimes, nickels, stuff like that. No one was very few were throwing like paper in, right? So I had my guitar case open, and that's how I made a living. Isn't that funny? Go out every night. I'm talking freezing, and that's what I would do because I really wasn't a begging type guy. So I figured I
Oh,
was
you
at least
earned
giving
it.
them something for their money. Yeah, I was giving them something for their money, and so that's what I did. That's how I made a living.
Did
But
you
when I
play in the
think back,
subway?
no, I played outside. I didn't play in the subway. I played
Okay.
on the street corner, and I'd move up and down Third Avenue and play, and then I had all kinds of jobs. I had worked at a pet store for few days.
Few
It was
days?
just
Did you get fired?
nah. I just I don't know. I figured it wasn't my thing, and I like pets and dogs, so it was all right. Maybe a few weeks or something. But I was really kind of a vagabond, and then I would bounce from New York to Florida, from Florida to Maryland, sometimes to Philadelphia because my father lived in Maryland where I grew up. My mother at that point was getting ready to move to Florida from Philadelphia and then New York. So I stayed in Florida for a while in Coconut Grove. In those days, it was like kind of an artsy town. And then I remember driving with a guy from Coconut Grove, Florida to Manhattan. I'd been in Florida for like 7, 8 months, 6, 7 months, right? And this guy goes, "Yeah, man, I'm driving back." And just like, I didn't even know him. Some fucking hippie dude, those days, He go, "Yeah," and I guess I just chipped in on gas to
Mm-hmm.
help him. I didn't have that much money. And I remember he had a tin on the front seat. It was like a Plymouth or Dodge Lancer. It was nothing car. And he was smoking weed the whole time. And I didn't really smoke. And he was a real nice, I always wonder what happened to this guy. And he
Wow.
dropped me off in front of my brother's building where he was living, which was 56 in Lexington. And I got out, and all I had was a guitar and a little duffel bag. That was it. And I landed, and I stayed in my brother's apartment. But I mean, when you think about it, back then, 1970, driving from Coconut Grove, Florida, beautiful place, and then driving all the way to New York City. It took it like a few days. But you know what? I don't remember sleeping anywhere. I don't remember anything. I don't remember. I remember the guy had like dark curly hair, maybe a year older than me or something like that. God, and that's why one of the things I like about social media, I wish a guy would say, "Man, Frank, I was that guy you drove." I said, "Oh man, that would just be
Yeah.
cool to do because there's something you shared that was pretty cool, man. Back
Yeah.
then."
Yeah.
Or I would travel by train a lot, train and Greyhound buses or Trailway buses. I mean, cross country.
Wow.
People don't realize you're sitting on a bus next to someone for 3 days. You're going across the country. And that's how. And I said, "Dad, I'm coming into Maryland. Can you meet me at the Greyhound bus station?" Yeah, but that was the mode of travel. Guys like us didn't have cars. We didn't have any money,
Right. Right.
and flying was absolutely out of the question.
Now tell me that story in Florida. What you had a gig, you got a hit
Yeah,
of PCP, something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Funny as shit.
Okay,
Here's an
yeah, and
opportunity for you, and all of a sudden, say what?
uh, I was playing at a place called the Feed Bag in Coconut Grove, and I wasn't a drug person. I
Mhm.
wasn't. I did a half a tab of acid once, and it freaked me out. I said, "Nah, this is not for me." So anyway, I'm in Florida, and I get a call. I don't know how this guy contacted me. Joe Tucci, a guy from Philadelphia, who's kind of like a stoner type guy, kind of my age. No, he was a mess. Anyway, he goes, "Yeah, come on down." Well. So he was staying at his aunt's or some dump, right? And I was playing that night, and he goes, "Yeah, try a hit of this." And I smoked weed a little bit, like the guys. And so by the time I got to the club that night, I and I used to play this place a lot. You know,
Mhm.
I get on stage, and I'm like really ripped, and I'm getting ripped. I didn't realize PCP all of a sudden came on later, and I have a 12 string, and I'm trying to tune it. Okay, and so one of the octaves is off a little bit, and I'm tuning it. As I'm doing it, the neck is like growing, like to the other end of the room. And I'm actually tuning it, but the neck looks like it's like 10 feet away. And I totally untuned the guitar, and I just hit like this dissonant chord, and that was it. I couldn't do the show. I untuned that 12 string so bad it was taking me forever to tune it, and that was my show.
Holy shit! Oh my god, I
Yeah,
feel like
man,
you
that
got
was
like Larry David stories, man, from Curb Your
that's like
Enthusiasm.
yeah, that was yeah,
That's
and it was
definitely a Larry
really
David episode.
weird. Yeah, it was really weird, and so I didn't really get caught up in the drug generations. I didn't drink or anything like that. I started drinking later, but in those days I didn't. Yeah, I didn't smoke, didn't drink, and yeah, I had smoked weed, but it just wasn't my thing. I mean, a lot of those guys were big stoners. They were ripped all the time. I
Hmm.
mean, and those are probably the homeless people now. The people that were in high school that were the underachievers that were always stoned, lazy, doing Robitussin, cough drops, cough syrup and stuff. And I bumped into some of these people later on in life, and you can see why the way they were because that's how they were in high school, just
Well,
non-productive.
they say that whoever you hang out with defines you.
Yeah, yeah. Show me you're with, I'll show you who you are.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I kind of, I never really hung out with a weird set. Mostly nice guys, friends, but we're teenagers, but we didn't do. We weren't like criminals. We didn't go out and start
Right.
trouble and stuff like that. We just people used to hang around the house. We'd go to my friend Bill's house. We'd listen to like new albums coming up, and stuff like that. Just got to
Right.
drink beer or whatever. Just stuff you would consider very parochial today, compared
So,
to right.
yeah, when your brother left to California,
Mm.
how long were you living in New York and then you moved to Cali?
I wasn't living in New York. I was living in Trenton, New Jersey, and because I'd left New York to go to Trenton because that's where I was putting my group together, Valentine. Okay, because my manager lived there, and I had lived there before. Okay, and Trenton at that point wasn't as bad as it is now. Okay, it was okay, and so my brother, it was I think it was maybe either late '73 or early '74. He goes, like, I'm moving. I said, you're moving? Because I remember he went down to my father's farm in Maryland, where he grew up. My father bought him like an Oldsmobile for like, knowing my father was very cheap, probably 150 bucks, okay? And had it worked on by the mechanic. And my brother drove that car to New York. They packed the car with what they could, with Butkus, the dog from Rocky, the big bull
Mhm.
mastiff, and they took off for Washington, for California. And I remember they left almost everything in their apartment. So of course, me being the scavenger, I grabbed stuff, and a lot of the stuff I took, like that leather jacket, that's the jacket he wore in Rocky because I gave it to him. I gave it back to him, and it was really weird. I'm driving back to Jersey, and I remember I was driving. I had a 1965 Ford Country Swire wagon. I remember that. And I'm driving the other way going back to Jersey, and I pass him, and he's in the middle of on the freeway, and the dog Buckets is taking a dump. They're like the dog's taking a crap, and him and his wife at that time, Sasha, were there, and I go, wow, they're gone, man. They're going to California, and they did. That was it. And so I was, so I was living in New Jersey. It was kind of I can't say it was a great time. It wasn't a bad time, but I had my band. And when you're young, your band is somewhat like your family. Because I didn't really have much family, so that was kind of like you're with each other almost every night playing, and so you build a kind of a camaraderie of inside jokes, just stuff that goes on.
Now
Girls
this
like
is
in
it right here,
the
the third version.
That's this one. Yes, that's
Okay.
that band. Yeah, and that band was. I was with that band. That band's the one that lasted the longest. That lasted from '73 to '79. It's almost 6 years,
Oh wow.
and we're very, very good friends. I still talk to the one up top, Bill, who was my drummer, and the guy with the curly hair next to him, Peter. Still talk to him.
The bass
The
player
other
was
guy died. That's Jody on the yeah.
he died, right? He passed away
Yes,
recently.
he dies. Yeah, he died about maybe 2.5, 3 years ago.
Oh wow.
And I felt really bad. I really wished he would have been in the documentary because he was a really
Right here,
funny.
right? This guy.
Yeah, yeah. He was. You know what? He was so handsome when he was young. He looked like Paul McCartney, and he just. I don't know what happened. He just put on a tremendous, enormous amount of weight, and I don't know if it was self-loathing or not. But he was a great friend of mine. He was one of the type guys when I drive to Vegas,
Hmm.
we'd talk on the phone for 3 hours. Just typical
Yeah.
bull BS.
Just shooting
About
the
what.
shit with your friends, man. I get
Yeah,
it.
exactly,
Just
exactly.
shooting the shit.
So
Yeah.
he passed away, and if people see the documentary, he passed away, and I inherited his guitars, the bass guitars, because I didn't want to see them go to a wedding band. I said I'll
Right.
buy them, and I still have them here.
All right, so
But
you were going through like you were down on yourself, right? In the East Coast, and then your brother just said, "You know what? Why don't you just come to Cali?" Right? That's what he told you.
well, everything had fallen apart. I mean, the group had fallen apart. Rocky, we'd lost our record deal. Rocky was over. We were over. I mean, kind of, if you want to say that, I guess there were just because Rocky was the hot thing at that time. So I guess it was just okay. Next. So after that, the group went on for a little bit, and then it broke up. Broke up. A lot of times groups break up because of the girls. The girls wreck all the groups because
Does that happen right now and nowadays too?
it could be. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been in a group. I mean, now I'm the leader of the group. So what? So I call the shots. So they don't bring. There's none of that stuff. But in those days, this is how it'd be. I started the group, so I was basically the main singer. But Jody also was a great singer, and Bobby was a great singer. So
Mm-hmm.
they're all really good singers. But I was I guess, the main singer, the leader of the group. So this is how it goes. All of a sudden, they meet a girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the girls start chirping in their ears. Why is Frank sing all the songs? You're just a good singer. It's Frank. Why that? And all of a sudden, it causes discord within the band. Okay? Because the girls got his ear, and they're young and hot to trot, these guys, so they'll do anything the girls say. And and I'm the bad guy. I always end up being the bad guy.
Sounds like Al
But
Pacino and Scarface, and I'm
yeah,
the bad
yeah,
guy.
they all to the bad guy. Okay, so all of a sudden I'm the bad guy, and what would happen? The girls start hanging out with each other, like the drummer's wife and the girlfriends or whatever, and then they just conspire. Who's Frank think he is? Joey should be singing that song. I said, yeah. How do you fight that? So eventually it causes discord within the band, which before we were really happy when we just had girls we met, not
Right.
like girlfriends. So, but I made sure I never had a steady girlfriend for that reason. So, because I knew where I was going,
Right.
and I was going where they were going, and so and then the group broke up, and I was like playing a place called the Ground Round for like $30 a night. I mean, I went. Now you have to understand, Eddie. I went from nothing happening to being in one of the biggest movies of the world, the biggest movie nominated for 10 Academy Awards. We did Merv Griffin, we did Mike Douglas, we did Dinah Shore, we did Midnight Special, we did, you name it, we did all the big shows, right? Mike Douglas, you
Yeah.
name it,
Yeah, I saw
everything.
that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when the group finally, Rocky has run its course, it was a good run. Then we realized the only reason we were getting attention, we were a good band, we were a really good band, was because I was my brother's brother. It was, but there's no guidebook to guide you through that. No, I mean, how do you come from a local band playing with hopes of getting a record deal, and you have a brother that's basically an unemployable actor, and overnight he becomes the biggest actor in the world.
Yeah.
So there's no handbook for how do you handle that. Well, I mean, I was unsophisticated. I was a young guy, right? I didn't know anything about that. So after that run, we lose our record deal. The group finally breaks up. the girls had something to do with it, and whatever. I think it just ran its course. So now I go from that. Now I'm still living in Trenton. So now I go from all that stuff to playing like the Ground Round, which is a hamburger place, $30, 40, $30 a night, the Bristol Motor Court Inn, just as acoustic act. So that was a hard pill to swallow, but that's what I do. So my brother said, why don't you just come to California? I said, well, I don't know. I was just stuck. So I got in my car with my manager and we drove to California. Is I think I sold everything I had. I think I might have had $800, maybe, not even $1,000, maybe. And we drove to California, and that's how I started. And I've been here ever since 1979. Is that weird? 79. I've been here.
Wow.
Been here since I was 29 years old.
Holy shit. Yeah.
I know. I've lived in my house for 35 years.
So wait. You live in L.A. in the heart of L.A. right now?
Well, not in the heart. No, I live near Westwood, near
Oh, that's a
UCLA.
beautiful area. I lived in L.A. too.
It's
That's
nice.
a nice area.
I've been in my house for 35 years.
Wow.
I know. It blows my mind. I said, I've been in this joint for 35 years. I said, Christ, if these walls could talk. Holy Christ.
There's a lot of history with those walls, huh?
We a lot of history, Single rock star in a house for 35
So now,
years.
okay, so when your brother became Rocky, right? Did he say, "Hey, Frank, I got you. I'm gonna put you in parts too," or the
Not
studio
really.
called the shots?
No. No, he wrote the scripts. He could do whatever he wanted. I mean, so yeah, they put me in Rocky 2 to somewhat create that scene,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a different group. It wasn't the group Valentine. The first one was my group Valentine. The second one was a bunch of guys I put together
Yeah.
who tried to sue me.
Try to sue you?
Yeah.
Who tried to sue you?
The second group that was in
Oh,
Rocky 2.
Jesus.
I said, okay, great. This was a big mess. That was a mess. And then I was still living on the East Coast, and then I moved to California, and I was there a little while, and then he started up on Rocky 3.
Right.
So I had a few songs in Rocky 3, and actually I was his stand-in. That's how I was making a living.
Is that you right
Yeah,
there?
that's me. And before I fight my brother in the movie, when the montage, I fight Mr. T and I fight my brother, but I'm wearing different trunks, and I still have those gloves. Matter
Wow.
of fact, yeah, I wish I had the trunks and shoes. Like idiot, I got rid of all that stuff. But yeah, it was. Look, man, it was really cool. Met a lot of nice people,
I'm saying,
and it
Frank,
was.
but here's the thing that this what would bother me, right? Like, did you get? Be honest with me. Were you upset when people were like, when they introduce you? Oh, Sly's brother. Always Sly's brother
Well,
in the beginning. I mean, did that kind of? Were you upset
they
about
still,
that?
they still do.
Really? To this day, they.
Oh, yesterday. Hey, this is Frank Stallone. This is the Sly's brother. Oh, yeah, every day. But what you have, I know who I am. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
with everything else, and I know who I am. I know what I do and stuff like that. So I don't get really bent out of shape about it. No, it's really weird when I go to DMV or one of these places and they call out Stallone. I'm like, Christ. Or people start looking around, then I can walk them. But I get recognized a lot. Because I was on a TV series for a few years. Like I was on one called Movie Stars, and I was on a reality TV show called World's Dumbest on TV. So I get recognized. I mean, but most important to me is getting kudos from my peers. That's what means the most. I mean,
Right.
I don't need to be the most recognized guy in the world, but I like, I mean, it depends where I go. Sometimes I go places, people, oh, they're Frank.
Yeah, but Frank, you know what? I listen to your music on YouTube, right? And I'm saying to myself, I'm not kissing your ass, but I'm like, this guy's
Yeah.
extremely talented. How come he's not a fucking superstar?
It's who you know, my brother. it's
Is that
you
what it
know
all comes down to? It like, have you
yeah.
seen people that are not talented whatsoever, but they
How
just
about like a majority of them are zero talented, but what they do, they have either a great management team, they have a great, it's very strange. It's really a lot of it's luck, a lot of it's timing, a lot of is the commitment of a management team that's go getter. I never had that. I never really had a great team. I really never had a mentor. I kind of was flying by the seat of my pants most of the time. And but the funny thing is that I'm still here. A lot of these other guys are long gone, man. They're sitting there, with regular jobs, and say, God, I wish I stayed in music and stuff. So I'm still living the dream in a way. I'm still doing my thing,
right?
But a lot of people, they kind of sold themselves out down the river, you know.
Frank, how many people that you knew in Hollywood when when you were younger that just gave up on their dream and it's like, you know what, fuck this, I'm out. Have you
A lot,
a lot,
a
right?
lot. Yeah, because the chances of you making it are so slim. There are people that have been in this town for 40 years that have never gotten an acting gig that are actors.
And
They're
they're fully
waiters.
trained actors and everything.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of these people come here. I think I want to be an actor. No, it doesn't work that way. You want to be an actor. Well, what you want and what is reality are two different things. So that is not a truism. Uh, my brother and I were talking a few nights ago. I said, what would have happened if you never would have done Rocky? And now here's a guy that studied acting, did plays and stuff. He goes, I don't know. I would have been a character actor. He goes, what do you think of yourself? I said, well, uh, I'd still be a musician. I'd still be going like as you as an actor, as me as a musician. I'd still be going, trying to get a record deal, trying to do this and that. Whether it would have happened, I don't know. So was it a perfect storm in a way that he made it so big that I was part of history with Rocky and then was staying alive? Would I have probably had the opportunity to write music for Staying Alive if he was not Sylvester Stallone? Absolutely not. You're talking about one of the biggest selling albums, Bee Gees, Saturday Night Fever. So I absolutely not I would not have probably had that opportunity because I wouldn't have been in any position at that
No, but
opportunity.
at
I would,
first, when you when you got into the Paramount lot,
yeah, yeah, a lot, yeah.
yeah. So, but at first, you ask your brother, listen, can you just a
Yeah.
little music, and he's like, I don't know, the Bee Gees are
I
involved.
basically said no. Let's be realistic. Saturday Night Fever sold 52 million records, 26 million double records, albums.
That's
One of the
crazy.
great soundtracks of all time, really a lot. One
That's
of the great
crazy.
soundtracks of all time. So the chance of me writing for the sequel, see, but I didn't find out till later that the Bee Gees really didn't want to do it in the first place. But their manager, Robert Stigwood, was also the producer as well. So when they had a falling out with the people who be at Paramount, that's kind of where I came in. But before me, they went to Hall and Oates. They didn't want to do it. They went to Billy Joel. He was too expensive. So I had been writing all these songs, and I'd been going into Paramount, showing my brother the music. So he called me in, and John Travolta liked the music, and he's the bottom line, man. He's the star.
Right.
So between those two, but it could have gone a different way. It could have gone where he didn't like the music. So I try to tell people Hollywood is not that generous. Just because my brother was the director, they don't care. If the music's not good, it's not going in the movie. They're not going to risk, $100 million investment into a film because the director wants his. That'd be like the guy goes, "Hey, can you put my girlfriend in the movie?" No, it doesn't work that way. So I worked really hard on that stuff. I really worked hard on that music, and I still perform those songs live.
But you know what? You were
because
also nominated for Golden Globes, right? For a
I
Golden
got
Globe.
Grammy. Yeah. Mhm. And that picture there, I have that was considered by the Academy for best song, "Staying Alive" from the movie,
But
and I
Frank,
got ripped
after
up.
but Frank, after that, are you thinking, okay, here's my big break? You know what? I was nominated. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
I'm well
I said
known now. It's not just
absolutely,
Rocky's brother. You know what? It's Frank Stallone's turn, right?
absolutely. But guess what? I didn't have like that big team behind me. That's okay. Well, there's some managers. All of a sudden, they see a little opening at daylight, man, they're on it. Boom. I didn't have that. So what happened when Staying Alive and the record stopped? I had to get working. So I started doing more movies because I figured, well, let me parlay what success I have with Staying Alive. So I ended up doing 78 movies, some good ones, some bad ones, but
You had one with Bruce Willis, right? That was a good
yeah, I
one.
had Hudson Hawk, I did Tombstone, I did Barfly. So I did some good ones in between. But, and then I had to play some bad gigs, man, because for money, I mean, I didn't make the money that I thought I was going to make. Because the studios rip you off. Come on, they take your publishing and stuff. So I did okay. I'm not kicking. Listen, I'm doing a lot better than a lot of people. So I'm not. I got a roof over my head. So
Yeah, but I think a guy like you deserves that much bigger. You know what I mean? Because you paid your dues, you did everything you
oh, I
can.
paid my dues.
Oh, yes, you did.
There was no doubt about that. I paid my dues. Yeah, I did pay my dues. So did a lot of other people. But I just had that desire. I like to perform because that's what I know how to do. I don't really know how to do that many things. So, but that's one thing I know how to do, and I love it. And sometimes I sit back. Of course, we always want more. And then I just look back and I go, you know what, man? When I look at the big picture, I'm pretty damn lucky and I'm pretty blessed. I've been able to do what I love for the majority of my life. I've never had to sit and do a lousy job that I hate or come home to a wife I can't stand. I've never had to do that. So, in some ways, I'm very blessed. And of course, and there's other ways I'm kind of really frustrated. I mean, I still get hey, there's Rambo's brother. So I'm even being compared to a fictitious person. It's not even a real person.
Right, right.
Be like, if Boris Karloff's daughter was going, hi, this is Sarah, this is Frankenstein's daughter. It's like goofy.
Yeah.
But I've met some good people along the way. I don't know if I work as much now because I'm a conservative, and I don't know if that's the most popular thing to be in Hollywood, but I don't care.
Right.
I love my country, and that's me.
Frank,
I
here's
don't
my
care.
question. If a 21-year-old met you and
Mhm.
said, "Hey, I know a lot about you. I really want to become an actor," what would you tell him? I want to be an actor in Hollywood. That's just,
Mm.
what would you?
And in other words, that all of a sudden that they said that's what they want to do. I mean, it wasn't like they graduated Yale School of Drama or something like that. I'd say,
Or even, you know what, either or. Yale drama or, NYU, whatever, conservatory acting school. What would you say to that 21-year-old?
well, I'd say I don't want to be the one to dissuade you, but this is a brutal, brutal, brutal business, and you better have a thick skin because chances are you're probably not going to work. Okay, uh, I've friend of mine managed some big people. He said, Frank, if you have to go into audition, they don't really want you. Yeah, because basically when you're auditioning for something, in their mind they have who they want in it, and
Hmm.
they're just and basically if it doesn't work out with them, then they'll take column B. But most of the chances you aren't going to get the work. I mean, there's very, very, very few actors that are working. I mean, I've done 78 movies. I haven't worked in a picture in years. Again, it could be brother of stuff, and I have a movie out, and I'm not working. So I said, okay. I said, well, let me put perspective. I'm a Stallone. I have a movie out. I'm not working. You're a nobody that nobody knows. You don't have any film on yourself, so what do you think your chances are? But you're young, go for it. I mean, go for it, but I'm telling you,
But just
it's a brutal,
be prepared
be
that
prepared for failure. It's a brutal, brutal business. I mean, people have jumped off the Hollywood signs because of this business. People have killed themselves, I
holy
mean, all the
shit.
time. Oh,
Wow.
oh, if you read Hollywood Babylon, you know how many famous people fucking commit suicide because they get their ego connected. I go in to say, okay, I'm prepared. If I don't get the gig, I don't get the gig. I'm not going to jump off the fucking Hollywood sign or anything like that. But some people, they get nuts because maybe they're so insecure in their real own life and they're delusional. It's almost like that movie, brilliant movie called Day of the Locust, where people become delusional. And I've seen it. I see it in the auditions. I see the desperation of wanting to be famous. So I asked the kid once, I said, well, let me ask you, you want to be famous or you want to be good? Being famous is one thing, being good is another. Or would you like to be really good and maybe not that famous so people know you're good? Yeah. Okay, Gary Oldman's probably one of the best actors in Hollywood. Is he a household name? Do people stop him in the street everywhere he goes, know who he is? No. Or either Daniel Day-Lewis, because they kind of blend into the scenery, but they are real artists. And then you have the other guy, or do you want to be Justin Bieber? Yeah, okay, he's got hundreds of millions of dollars, but would you rather be him or would you rather be Robert Plant?
Right.
I'd rather be Robert Plant, you know what I mean? Or would you rather be like Teddy Pendergrass? That's what I'd rather be. So there's the thing, do you want to be good or do you want to be famous? If you just want to be famous for the fact of being famous, you're in the wrong business, man, because this is a tough business. You got to work at your craft, and no one's going to give you anything. I mean, my brother, we had a long time. He goes, they don't care about you. They don't care. They care about them.
So they're just
They care about,
renting you if you get the gig.
yes, they care about the bottom line, which is money. It's like the mob. They glorify the mob. Oh, yeah. No, all they're into is money. They don't give a crap about you or your ethic. Their thing is into making money. Can I make money? That's where their thing is. Same thing in Hollywood. They work in a business where when you don't have, if you're not producing anymore, you're done. Look, my brother went through 10 years of hardly getting an acting job. You're talking about the biggest actor, one of the biggest actors in Hollywood history. Couldn't get arrested for like 10 years.
Is this before the Expandables? That gap?
Yeah, before Expendables. Yeah.
Expendables.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Expendables. He couldn't get arrested. You're talking about after 4 Rockies, 3 Rambos, Cliffhanger. You're talking big movies. All of a sudden, the calls stopped coming in, and it just stopped. And he had to start all over again. First with Rocky Balboa, which I thought was one of my favorite movies, and then with Rambo 4, which I thought was great. And then slowly, then he did Expendables, which became the #1 picture. The Expendables 2 became the #1 picture. But I said, so if it can happen to him, what do you think is going to happen to you? And you're talking about a guy that's made billions of dollars for the industry, but they don't care about you. They care about making money. They care about the bottom line. They don't give a shit about you. So they ask you, what do you tell actors? I said, this is what I tell you. Save your money. You want to be a big shot driving around in a Rolls or a Lamborghini, blah, 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 but one day it could end like that, and you're done. You're going to find yourself in debt. You want to go out and buy girls' boob jobs and have a kumar on the side, spending all your money paying her rent. Do it, but I guarantee you, when it stops, you'll never see that person again.
God, you're so right.
That's
You're so
okay.
right, man. You're so
So I
right. I
tell these
can't
guys,
agree with you more, man.
save your money. Take care of you. Save your money. Of course, you can go out, date, do whatever you want, but don't be like Good Time Johnny
Yeah.
here,
Don't be a
because
sucker.
don't be a sucker. You spend your money, you get involved in drugs, you start doing blow, you buy things, you're living way beyond your means. Most people in Hollywood are living beyond their means. Most of these clowns you see driving Lamborghinis and Rolls, they don't own them. They don't have $350,000 to buy those cars, these young guys. They rent them. And they're trying to be big shots. And then when the bottom falls out, they're done. So,
And they also rent females too, just to look
of
good,
course, they do.
right?
I told a friend of mine, I said, how stupid do you have to be to go on online dating in today's atmosphere? I said, you out of your mind? I said, seriously. I go, is something wrong with you? Don't you see what's going on in cancel culture? Me Too. You're messing around with seeking arrangements, these boutons and stuff. Are you out of your mind? Do you understand? You have money, you could be getting set up, ruin your life. Find yourself a nice girl, do your business, but don't. It's very reckless. And nowadays, you have to
Yeah.
be very careful.
Frank, did you remember that producer Don Simpson?
I knew him very well.
Did you ever go to his parties? Was this guy? Because I read the book High Concept, and I'm like,
No,
holy
yeah,
shit!
I see him in the gym all the time. Here was a guy, interesting guy. Guy really wasn't a bright guy. Jerry Bruckheimer was the brains in that outfit.
That was his right hand man, right?
Yeah, no, Jerry was the brains. That's why Jerry went on to do amazing things. Don had a drug problem. He would come to the gym all the time. Over the weekend, he put on 15, 20 pounds. He would sit there and do drugs. He'd order 4 pizzas and stuff. And he wasn't a bad guy, but what he was a go-getter. Came from Alaska, kind of a hick. And he's dead at like 51 years old on a toilet, dead,
Yeah.
dropped dead. But he died of excess. Died of excess.
Did you
It's
go
a
to
shame.
his parties? Did you go?
No, that wasn't my scene. I didn't go to that type of. Well, because I wasn't into the drug thing, and yeah, he wasn't. He was a nice guy. He wasn't my cup of tea. I was more into. Mine was more the rock and roll. I was a musician,
Right.
so my thing was a little different. I wasn't into the Hollywood, Coco's, whores and stuff. I wasn't into that shit. I did, most of the girls they dated were nice girls. I really wasn't into the strippers or going to the strip club. A lot of that Motley Crue, they do videos. That wasn't my thing. I was never into that. I love the women, don't get me wrong,
Well, of
but I
course.
just wasn't into strip clubs. I wasn't into that type of life.
But
I
here's,
mean, I was
Frank,
healthy. I worked
right.
out. I'm in
But here's
shape.
my question: like you got, your brother has gorgeous daughters, right? Like, what kind of advice What kind of advice that you and your brother tell them? Like, here's a picture of the family right there, right? Because
Yeah.
they say a man that doesn't spend time with his family can never be a real man, right? There you go.
Well, they do spend a lot of time with their mother and father. Okay.
Hmm.
And they're good girls. They're like in here. They're beautiful girls. Uh, they date, but my brother's like, bring me home with Tom Brady. Okay, let's make it simple. Yeah, bring me home some like deadbeat, tattooed fucking rock star. So, but they have their head on their shoulders and they're raised right, and they're very close with their parents, very close with their parents. So nothing's going to fall between the cracks. You know what I
Right.
mean?
But don't you think
So,
like these guys, like, oh wow, there goes Sylvester Stallone's daughters, man.
of course they
Right?
do.
Don't they act like that?
Yeah, but let me ask you something. When you live in a $60 million house, you've grown up like that, and some like Jamoke comes over and goes, "Hey, how you doing?" I mean, forget it.
That's not
Out.
accepted. See ya.
That's not. No, that's like, hey, how are yous? No,
Right,
that's
right.
not going to happen because everyone thinks they're like a junior Robert De Niro out here.
Hmm.
Hey, I'm a New York actor. I said, well, no, it's called actor, not actor. Not AC.
Well, it's voice and speech. You gotta, manage that
Hey,
and
yeah,
hide
of
it.
course. Of course. But that's the thing. Everyone comes out in the 50s. Everyone wanted to be James Dean and Marlon Brando. And there were some really bad imitations. And then in the 70s, 80s, everyone wanted to be De Niro, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you see all these guys come out here, and a lot of them are like, real Guidos, you know what I'm saying? And they're like, yeah, we'll come out to be a New York actor. We'll do this. And they don't even know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
I said, did you ever go to acting school? And no, but they all says I'm good. I said, oh, please.
You know what is, Frank? I can't stand. I went to the Conservatory Acting School in New York City. I know what you're talking about, but I can't stand when people say, "Oh, but everyone told me I should become an actor," and I'm like, "But you got no training." Yeah, but my personality makes up for it. I'm like, yeah, but that don't mean shit.
No. I said, and I tell them, I said, it's a art. It's a skill.
Right.
It's like when Laurence Olivier told Dustin Hoffman during Marathon Man. Dustin Hoffman was running for miles to sweat and get all like this. And Laurence Olivier said, he goes, did you ever try acting? No. It's a skill. It's an art.
Yeah, it is.
Tricks. There's tricks to it. There's this to it. There's that to it. And that comes from, go, well, your brother did it. Yeah, my brother also did off-Broadway. He did plays. He did a lot of plays.
He busted his ass, right? I mean, he
went to the University of Miami, studied, dramatics and theater. Of course, I said, you think these guys, it's like when they see like a Sugar Ray Leonard I said, you're seeing the end result. You're not looking at the years of toil, fighting in dives and stuff, or like rock stars playing in crappy gigs and stuff. That's what you're not seeing.
Yeah, you're just seeing the fame and the star and all that shit.
You're seeing the end result of all that hard work. You know what I mean? So, but that's what happens. And I've told many, I said, if you don't have a thick skin and you're like a sensitive crybaby type, you ain't going to cut it. I'm just telling you right now, because they don't care about you. Very simple. Casting people are there to do a job. Their job is to find someone that the producer wants. They don't care that you can't pay your rent. They don't care that
they don't care about your feelings.
They could care less about your feelings. Right. Most of them actually don't like you anyway, because most of the casting people are kind of homely. So if you're like a good-looking guy or a girl, immediately they hate you. So, if you come in like with a good build, good-looking, like these little snarky like casting guys, you are exactly the guy they hate. You're exactly the guy that got all the girls in school or picked on them. So you're done. Yeah. So I said, don't come in with the wife beater on. Trust me on this. I tell these guys all the time, no, it's part of the part. I said, do me a favor. Do not go in with your muscles bulging and wearing a tank top. Don't, because immediately they're going to think you're a schmo. Right. Just go in and do the work. And I've sat there like, you've done auditions. I'm sitting there going over my lines, and I see these young actors. What are they doing? They're hitting on chicks.
Mm-hmm. And they're talking to other people, the other actors. I'm like, why don't you work on your craft? Like, why don't you, be prepared?
You should be studying your lines. Right. Oh no, I got it. Okay, really? Then they go in front of the casting people and they freeze and they go up on their lines. I said, what your agent sent you here for is to work on getting the part, not picking up chicks, picking up actresses. And the actresses do the same thing. They're trying to be cute. They go in, hi, whatever. And, the casting people go, oh, Christ, here we go, another one.
No, Frank, what's funny? Here's the thing. This is what I noticed, right? So when I go to audition, right? So you see girls there, right? And we're men, we're like, oh, shit. But you know what? My focus is definitely on the script, right? The sides. So what these girls do, they think, well, I'm the hottest girl here. Now, next hot girl comes in. Now that girl is already losing her focus on the sides, and she's saying, oh my God, that girl's hot, but no way. So then she thinks her shit don't stink. Then the third girl comes in. Now these two girls are hating on the third girl. You know what I mean? Like,
because they're competing. They're not there for the right reasons. Right. And here's the thing. I remember in closing, there was a great cold reading teacher out here, Margie Haber. And that was her thing. Studios would send people to her for cold readings. Because a lot of people are good actors, but they suck as cold readers. That's the way it is. And she goes, well, here's the first thing. It's a cold reading. Okay. You're not doing Ibsen. You're doing a cold reading. So it's okay to keep your script there,
Mm-hmm.
but at least know where you are on your script with your finger. Be
Right.
aware of where you are. Here's number one mistake. Oh, I got this. I rehearsed all week with my girlfriend and my friends. I got it. So where's their script? Folded like in their back pocket or here, right?
Trying to impress them.
Right. Okay, they go up on their lines. Hold on 1 second. Let me find where it's over. You're done.
You're done.
You're
Right.
finished. Right? So why can't you sit there, and she used to do a thing where you keep your thumb there and you're looking at the other guy, but you know where you're going. And she said, it's okay to look at it and then go, well, anyway, I was thinking about if this happens, what might you're doing a cold reading.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. But
Well, Frank, I think the number one thing is the listening part. You can't just think about your next line. It's your listening part. Listen, and then scoop it up a little bit.
Yeah, but know where your lines are. But of course, you're listening to him, and then you can take a beat. Yeah. So anyway, I was saying it's a cold reading.
Right.
Okay, it's not supposed to be perfect. What they're looking at is your look, your vibe, your stuff like this. But to sit there going in cute and you think you have it, I've seen guys go in there and leave their script on the seat and they're out in 10 seconds because they went, and then I went, where's your script? Oh, I think I left it outside. Done. Finished.
Idiots, man. Idiots.
Because what they're looking at is it's unprofessional. It's like Sinatra was, I met Frank quite a few times, but his whole thing was being prompt, never being late. He was always early. He was never late. Always 10, 15 minutes early. That was him. And his thing was when you're on time, you're late.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
There's a professionalism to the whole thing, as you know. And there's a lot of things. I've had guys, oh, come Brad Pitt made it. I go, well, look at him. I mean, how did he make it? You ever see Legends of the Fall or Thelma and Louise? I mean, he's this like great looking, amazing looking guy that can act. That's how he made it. And he probably had a great team behind him. Right? But then on the other hand, you've got Al Pacino, who's all 5'5", and he's he comes over to the house all the time. My brother's house. He's a great guy, but he's a serious actor. I said, I know when you see Scarface, but he does Shakespeare.
Yeah.
He did Richard. I mean, he can act. I mean, it's not like, and that's the key of it. He's not like some Goomba off the street.
Right.
He's a studied actor.
But he paid his dues. I mean,
damn right he paid it.
Yeah.
He didn't make it until he was like 31 years old.
Yeah.
Either Dustin Hoffman, his first movie, he was 31 years old, The Graduate.
I think
he just looked.
There's a fact that Dustin Hoffman, Robert Duvall, and Gene Hackman were all roommates in New York City when they were studying.
That's right.
Yeah. And the combination of them.
No, he was Duvall and Hoffman were roommates. Hackman lived downtown. Now Hackman's 90 years old, so they weren't kids. They were in their 30s, still schnocking around New York. But they, again, when you see Popeye doing French Connection, they just didn't come out of the woodwork. They're studied actors. They're skilled actors. I mean, and that's why when they make it look easy, that's why it's hard.
Well, I come from an athletic background. I had a full ride scholarship, small school down in Florida. And, when you hit the ball, Baseball.
Oh, yeah.
So, when you hit the ball with authority to the opposite field, because I'm a left-handed hitter, they're like, holy shit, he makes it look so easy. But you know what?
Not.
That's taking 300 swings off a tee every day and batting practice and working on, hitting to the opposite field and then pulling the ball and hitting the off-speed pitches to make it look easy and well-balanced, because baseball is all balanced. And it's like, that's what it takes, It's like when they were talking about me, it's like, yo, man, when the scouting report about me, it's like, he's got lightning hands. He'll hit the ball anywhere. You know what I mean? Be careful with this guy.
Hours and hours and hours.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like Babe Ruth. They go, well, how good was he? Well, considering he trained on beer and hot dogs, but he was a phenom. Left-handed hitter, 43-ounce bat, hitting a dead ball out of the stadium. Yeah. But he was just God-gifted. He just had that. and Joe DiMaggio. But they worked at it. Joe
Oh
DiMaggio,
yeah,
they're just
that's
Ted
one.
Williams. They're
Yeah,
just special.
but
Just
you know what's
I
crazy?
just saw a stat. How about this? You'll love this stat. Now Yogi Berra was maybe all of what 5'8",
No,
maybe
even shorter.
maybe one of the greatest catchers ever. How about this? 1 year, 625 at bats, right?
Hmm.
With only 15 strikeouts. So how good
Wow.
was he?
Yeah.
And he only had 14 rings. So I guess he was pretty good. Or Whitey Ford, 5'10". But look at his records.
Hmm.
But what they made up for here. They were smart and they knew. Like you look at what's his name from that played for Atlanta, one of the great pitchers. Not
Who's
not Sloth.
Maddox,
Uh,
Glavin, Smokes?
Maddox. Maddox.
88 miles
Not
per hour.
yeah. Max. Not fast, but what he did know is what you were a sucker for, and he could sucker pitch
Oh
you all.
yeah, yeah.
He had that computer brain. He goes, this guy will never hit this low and inside. No way. You just can't do it. So he would change up and all of a sudden, whammo. Or then you get the other guy, the guy Chapman, who played for Chicago when they won the World Series. Pretty few guys throw 103 miles an hour.
Well, he's with us now with the Yankees.
He's a monster. First of all, he's huge.
Oh hell
And
yeah.
he's throwing stuff that basically a normal human being, you wouldn't even see it.
No.
That's how fast it is.
Yeah.
And it's considered one of the hardest things to do is hit a baseball. So when you have something coming by your head, what's curving and it's sinking at 100 miles an hour, and you can plant it, pretty ain't easy.
No.
What position did you play?
I played outfield. I was a first base and outfield because I was lefty. But I was
Yeah.
like, they put me first base my junior year because our first baseman got hurt, but I was very athletic. So I played like 35 games at first base, But I was an outfield. I was a typical number 2 hitter, like a Tony Gwynn
Yeah.
type, Wade
Yeah.
Boggs, you know what I mean? Like,
What I love about Tony Gwynn, not a power hitter, but he could put it. He
yeah.
could put it where he wanted to put it. A lot of RBIs, a lot
Oh,
of hits. And it's like, I don't care if Mark McGuire was on, they were both on roids, Sosa, but still doesn't make you hit the ball. You
you're
have
right
to be
about
able
that.
to,
Yeah. You have to hit the ball. I mean, the ball is, first of
and
all,
you could be muscle bound, has nothing to do with it. Look
there
at
was a
Ted
lot.
Williams, tall,
Yeah.
skinny, wang,
Well,
out.
you know what's crazy about Ted Williams? He took like 4 years off because he went to war.
He took 6 all told.
And then
Korea 2, 4,
yeah,
right.
and then he won the Triple Crown when he came back. I'm like, what?
How about this? The last up at bats for Babe Ruth, home run. Last up at bat for Ted Williams, home run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, but people go, I said, they're freaks. See, he had 2015 vision like a fighter pilot.
Yeah.
But Ted Williams practiced. They said this kid was a kind of a.
He would bleed out of his hands. Like, okay, if I was bleeding, that means I
He
worked hard.
practiced dark out. They said that's what he did. He made the hitting an art.
Oh yeah.
Joe DiMaggio just didn't pop off. His brother Dom was a pro. I mean, so he had the genetics. And well, you show me another guy that's can hit 56 games. I don't know about that.
That will never happen, man. That record, Cal Ripken's record. Who else? The home run record. I don't know, but this guy Ohtani in Anaheim, man, he's got what 33 already.
But you know what they say? No, Hank Aaron, great player, but you did not break Babe Ruth's record because you played more games. If you said we played the same amount of games and you hit 61, I give it.
Right.
But if you played more games, that's how can that be? It's impossible.
So
How do they figure that?
Yeah, Frank, you want to hear my roster with my baseball guys on the show?
Yeah.
I had Darryl Strawberry.
Mm-hmm.
I had Doc Gooden. I had Sean Green, Sean Casey, Brett Boone, a guy named Homer Bush, and who else? There was one more.
What team was this?
No, there was
What team?
all these ball players.
I know who they are, but what team was that?
No,
You had them on your show?
on my show, yeah.
All of them?
All of them, yeah. So far, all of them. And I got a bullpen pitcher tomorrow, Jeff Nelson. He was a former Yankee. He was part of that dynasty years with Jeter. He was like the 7th inning guy.
Derek Jeter. There you go. All business.
Oh yeah.
All business. You know, we had dinner once with Joe Torre. He goes, he's the greatest baseball player I ever coached. I go, why? He goes, because he's problem free.
Yeah.
He's not a pain in the ass. He works hard. He does his thing. He doesn't. He's not a. He doesn't complain. He just goes out and plays baseball.
Oh yeah, yeah. And you know what else
What
I
he
had?
does in his personal life is fine.
Right.
Who cares?
You know what else I had? Ned Coletti, the former GM of the Dodgers.
How was he?
Oh
Great.
my God, man! The stories behind the scenes.
I'm not a Dodger guy. I'm a Yankee guy.
No, I'm a Yankee guy too, but the fact
I don't like the Mets either. Are you? Are you
no,
Giants?
I'm a diehard Yankees fan. Are you kidding? If you go to my Instagram, you see everything just Yankees.
First of all, it is no matter. It's the greatest baseball team in the history of baseball. Okay, thank you. End of story. The greatest players, the most historic players in baseball, played for the Yankees. That's all you got to say.
Yeah, but Frank,
DiMaggio, Mantle, Whitey Ford.
yeah, but we're desperate for a fucking championship, man, since '09, man.
You know what? When the old man was running the team, love him or hate him, but he got it done.
Yeah.
Because you know what he would have done? This is a sad thing. Of course, we're getting off everything. Here's
no. It's great. You're talking baseball. I love when my actors talk baseball.
Mike Trout is like a reincarnation of Mickey Mantle in certain ways. Great player. But he's on the Angels. Can you imagine Mike Trout? He's from Vineland, New Jersey, and he played for the Yankees. I think Steinbrenner would have made that happen. Because he would have rolled the dice. He goes, you know what? What do you want? What do you want? We want him for the Yankees. And he would have made it work because he would have swapped some of his guys out to the Angels and big money. And you know what? And Mike Trout's worth it.
Yeah.
Great. He's a throwback.
Yeah. Frank, let me
ask you this. Can
you
imagine him in Yankee stripes, man?
Oh, my God, yeah.
Jersey
those dynasty years, man. I'm going to ask Jeff Nelson, what's your focus hanging out in the bullpen? I mean, you're not going in until, the 7th or 8th inning. That's a hard focus. What do you guys do in the bullpen?
I see out here all the time Eddie Murray.
Yeah. Well, he's from there. I think he's from Watts originally.
Yeah, but he could play. Man,
he's got 3,000 hits.
Yeah,
500 home runs.
500 home runs.
Yeah, not that many people did that. 500 home runs and 3,000 hits. As much as I love Rafael Palmeiro, I mean, I can't believe Canseco sold him out like that, man.
That was not a good move.
No, he was desperate.
He should have just done his thing.
Right.
Keep your mouth shut. You know what? Whatever your thing is, don't bring other people into it.
Right.
Well, you're ratting other people. And that's a shame because he was a great player.
Yeah, he had bombs.
And what's he remembered for now? Doing bad celebrity boxing.
Yeah, I know. And desperate. Frank, let me ask you this. Arnold Schwarzenegger, when you worked out with him, what did you learn from him as far as when you guys do bicep curls? What was his thing as far as how to work out? Was it more reps?
We were kind of messing around, but the whole thing is with it is kind of form. I see these guys, they're not doing anything. Then you see these other guys that have great biceps and great arms, and they're not going ultra heavy, but they're strict. And Arnold's going, don't keep, it's strict intention. You see all these people, they're lifting way too much weight. And I'm at the age, man, I don't want to tear anything. I see these guys in the gym, Eddie, they're just lifting way too much weight for their age. And one day it's going to go pop, and then you're done.
You know what? You know what happened to me when I didn't do a CrossFit workout? It was in 2013, man. Torn pec surgery. Bench.
My brother had that right before Rocky 2.
Yeah, right.
He did Rocky 2. He did Rocky 2 with the torn pec.
Oh, my God.
He was lifting with Franco Colombo, and he got done lifting. Some other guy came in and said, hey, how much can you lift? And, of course, they got to who's got, bigger balls, and he bam, bing! That was it.
Oh, my God. Did he get surgery right after?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How much did you lift?
275.
Now, you'd done that before, right?
Yeah, I did 315 in college, but it was stupid, man. I you know what? It was dumb, man. I was fucking around with my friends. We warmed up to it, and then booyah, done.
Yeah.
I had
I'll be 70. It did?
It happened, yeah. And then USC orthopedic. That's when I had my surgery. 2013.
Thank God you weren't playing baseball, buddy. You would have been done.
Oh yeah, I know. So like when I go to the gym right after this, like I do workouts, 60 seconds rest, not too heavy, just stay in shape. Because you know what is, Frank?
You don't need to.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need.
I just want to later on in life, when I get to your age, I don't want to say, "Oh, my back is killing me. Oh, I can't do
Oh,
this. Oh, I can't do that." I hate that feeling, man.
I see these old bodybuilders that go, man, I'm telling you, don't lift too heavy. I'm telling you, because you'll pay for it later. I don't do squats. I'll do seated
Mm-hmm.
leg presses. I don't do squats. I don't mess around with that. And I'll do, but I just go for form because you know what?
Yeah.
If you look at great athletes, they're not muscle bound like that. They're lean.
They're lean. Yeah,
Now, if
that's
you look
what
at
you
someone
want to. You want to.
like Schmidt was built, but he wasn't like muscle bound. He was just,
Yeah, but you see this
like
picture of you right here. You look great. I mean, look for your fucking age. I mean, that's unbelievable right there.
I feel okay. Yeah,
I mean that's great. I mean, I'm like, yo, if I
but
could
I
do it.
like. What do you weigh now?
I'm at 195, and I got 17% body fat.
That's good. I want to get down to. I was like 207. I want to get down to. For me, 188. I like being a little under because I feel better.
Right.
But I'm not a 200-pound guy. I mean, that's the thing. When I went up,
Yeah, but how tall are you?
I'm shade under 6 feet.
Oh, so yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, yeah. But Arnold goes, so I was going to Arnold. It's very funny. I go, Arnold, man, you know what? My quads don't look like they used to. He goes, don't wear shorts. I go, okay. Don't wear shorts. Because, but listen, man, you got to give. Look, my mother, God rest her soul, she worked out every day. The day she died, she worked
And
out,
she was
and
98, right?
yeah, she was 2 months shy of 99,
Holy
and she
shit. That was
wasn't
September last
was
year, right? That's when she died.
11, but she was not feeble. She was not sick. Nothing. She just went like she wanted to in her sleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Frank, here's the message from Stephen Barrow. I'm going to play it for you right here. This is what he said, okay? Here it is.
Hey, Frank, thanks for the Instagram post. That was very cool. And I remember that night. You're an amazing, amazing musician. I am humbled in my musicianship. I'd love to see you sometime, buddy. I'd love to do a film with you as brothers, right?
Yeah. You
Okay,
got it.
I'm living in Miami. I'm doing a lot of work from here, but I've got a great life. I've got a great wife and beautiful family down here, away from Hollywood. So say hello sometime, okay? Say hello to your little friend. Take care,
Okay.
Frank. God love you.
Thank you.
That
He's
was,
such a wonderful guy.
I
He's
love
such a
him.
wonderful guy.
I love him.
And he's gone through his trials and tribulations. I'm so happy he's found a nice lady. He's a good guy, but he's from Miami.
Yeah, he's
So
from
he's
Miami.
probably happier there.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what is, Frank? I get it because you don't have to live in Hollywood anymore to become an
No,
actor. Everything is self-tape
no,
now.
no, you're right. Yeah, and listen, man, he had a great run on what was
Ray
that show?
Donovan.
Yeah, he was
It's
great.
a great show,
Again,
man.
he's a good actor. You saw him; he was playing like an Israeli. He's half Cuban.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know
he's
what I'm
no,
saying? But
100% Cuban. Yeah, 100%.
he is 100%
Yeah,
Cuban. Yeah,
100% Cuban.
I
Yeah.
mean, but look, he played, and that's why it's called acting.
No, listen, his story, I'm going to upload the video. I mean, for one whole
Oh,
hour.
he's had. Believe me, he had his trials and tribulations. A
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah.
He dealt with a lot of that stuff we were talking about. But he's a wonderful person. He's a really kind, nice guy. He's a very friendly, easygoing guy. I like him a lot.
Mhm.
I hope to work with him. But Eddie, I'm gonna have to cut this short because I have
Yeah.
to blow out. It's been a nice hour and a half.
Oh, yeah, you know what? No, I love this, man. You know what? Viewers are going to be like, wow, this is the real deal. That your advice will
Well,
definitely help. But listen, don't go anywhere. I'm going to end the broadcast. Let me just end it, but I'm going to just talk to you for real quick before you go. Hold on.